Yeah, you know what else is in excellent order? I feel like this episode of the 100 was very copacetic.
It was. Everything just like fell together perfectly.
Yeah,
it was nice.
But also, I feel bad saying that because a lot of tough things happened. But
But they needed to happen. They needed to happen. We needed these things to have consequences for them to feel real. Like
that ending, man.
I'm glad things happened. I'm glad that not everybody's impenetrable, I guess.
Yeah,
like immortal.
We're gonna get there, but man, welcome to Tyson and Teddy Talk the 100. We went on a little break. How long has it been? Yeah, I mean
3
the show.
Weeks.
Yeah,
I thought it was like a month, and so that's why
I thought it was a month too. And then when we were like, "Oh, there's a new episode," I was like, "There's no way it hasn't been a month."
Yeah, because I vaguely remember like you saying like, "Oh yeah, it says the next episode's like August 20 something." That's I put that in my brain. And that was just always in my brain. And then when I saw on Twitter, it was like, "Oh, all new tonight." And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Like, shit. Yeah, I don't know. All right. The lot happened in this episode, though. A lot happened. I have almost 2.5 pages of notes. Yeah, dude. Let's get into it. Also, I was just freaking out for a quick second because I opened Anchor for a second again and remembered how, for some weird reason, just is a little sidebar about how the sausage is made of running and hosting a podcast. I use a website called Anchor that automatically distributes it to all the podcast services, and I always freak out when I open this because it says it's on Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Spotify. It does not say on the website iTunes. And I remember seeing that for the first time and was like, it's not on iTunes? And I looked down, and even on like manual distribution, there's Apple Podcasts. So I opened iTunes on my computer. It's there. Like I found it through the iTunes
Apple's
store.
Being complicated like it is.
Yeah, I literally found it on the iTunes store and was like, oh, so it's there. So I just panicked a little bit because I was like, oh God, am I going to have to get it? No, it's there. I've checked before. All right. So let's see. This episode had a lot of shit. It picked up right where we left off, which those I always love when they do that. Yeah. Picked up right where we left off. I have 2.5 pages of notes and we're getting into it. So Amori immediately is rushing into all of the people dying.
It's weird that they were dying. I thought they would just all be dead.
Yeah, me too. That's why I was like, oh wow. I mean, good. Tough people. Tough to really withstand that slaughter. I wonder how many actually lived, if any. Because later you see them in like a camp, in like a tent, like being treated.
Yeah.
So I wonder how many actually made it through. But yeah, Amori rushes in with all the dead/dying faithful with Murphy and with Indra. And then the end of this scene is basically the only note I have. They're like freaking out, and then they're like, oh shit, he's going after Maddie. Because they were basically like, there's only, one other person who could, like, claim to be a commander. And then they're like, oh, fuck.
It still is weird why this... I don't even know how old he is now, but like this old man is going after this like young girl for like trying, because like even she
just has a claim.
She has a claim, but like she doesn't want it, and
she's still a threat to him. He is very much about eliminating any sort of threat whatsoever.
And when he goes to see her, I feel like it was more of a
terrifying scene.
I was like, the lighting in that scene is amazing when he's like in the bar with her. But it's more of just like he's just angry because she rejected him. Like when they were in.
It's more of a personal vendetta, and he's upset with her.
Yeah.
Also, I just saw in the background your cat Franklin jumped on. That was great. Watch the video version on YouTube. So yeah. He goes in to the tavern where Maddie is. Everybody else just pieces out.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the tavern is like, oh fuck.
And she doesn't. She's still just like
she didn't realize what was going on. She's just like do do do. And then this is the one quote that I wrote down and then wrote eye roll. He was like, I offered you the world, Maddie. You chose weakness. Love. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, there was a couple of spots in this episode like the dialogue wasn't the best, but
wasn't terrible, but that one right there was just very I was like, oh my God, standard
it's like
villain.
very cringy. Yeah.
It's very villain like I don't know, Fire Lord Ozai. Azula, your friendship is weakness, you know. Trust is for fools. Fear is the only real, reliable way. Let's see. I was confused at a bit of this as to why he didn't actually kill her, but he basically didn't kill her because he said it would make his Indra problem worse. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, like
Indra's just gonna come at you more mad or something? Like what?
I don't really
didn't
understand
fully
that
get
because
this.
because like even when we saw at the end of the last episode when the tree crew like kneeled when they like came into the room.
I think that was the Ice Clan.
Or the Ice Clan.
Which is like I think it starts with SKA, something like that.
But like a part of the Grounders, like they knelt to him. It's like, what does he have to be really afraid of? Like, yeah, he says, oh, it's my Indra problem would be worse, but it's like, and we see even later on, but like, I don't really think that, I think he could have killed Maddie and nobody would have done anything.
Yeah,
he was really,
I was surprised.
Like, each episode, he really like comes into his own as Shade Hater, and we see even like physically, like he gets a haircut in like
oh dude, later that
it was
fucking the costume change was dope as fuck.
It was dope, but it was also just
lie.
like it's weird seeing this like
I did think
man.
I thought for a second I was like, how do you have the time to do that? But like
also
it was awesome.
They're like, wait,
it was
before we round up the troops, I gotta get a haircut. I gotta change out of these clothes.
Yeah,
the logistics are never good.
It's okay though. But yeah, I just wrote down that was definitely I figured it was a scare tactic. He has a personal vendetta, and I think it was probably more fun for him to just intimidate Maddie.
Yeah.
Instead of killing her. And I was like,
he's that kind of guy, yeah.
Yeah. And then the transition, I always love this kind of shit from the theme. They did the whole theme, and then the last shot is the bridge. And then it kind of does a little flicker and like zooms out of a shot from the bridge because that's the scene that we're in next. And I was like, let's go. That's awesome.
Those are cool transitions.
I love that. I wrote, Echo, Octavia, and Dioza all choose to stay and fight the war, right? Because she's like, let us have our friends. And then he's like, you're free to go. And they're like, we're going to stay. Which, by the way, I have so much to talk about this whole plot line in a bit. Let's see. I actually wrote a note here that absolutely does not apply because of things that we find out later. we find out that is not true. I was like, oh man, I really don't buy that they're that brainwashed. And then
see, I was like, they're super brainwashed. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And then
I wrote, I really don't buy them being that broken and brainwashed that they would choose that when there is another option. I get the training before, they had no other option, but now here is Clark right in front of them. I was like, I don't get how they could...
But they would have had to know that Clark was coming for them, trying to come for them.
Well,
like
we find out later that they do.
Yeah.
They do know that. Let's see. This is one bit I wrote. I said, I love Anders questioning Bill, and both him and Clark looked at him. Yeah. Like, she was I need all of you out of here or whatever. I'm making the commands. I'm negotiating. And Bill said to take everybody, and Anders started to be like, I don't think that's a good idea. And both of them were like, motherfucker.
And like,
come on.
It just like asserted, like Clark asserted how badass she is. And it's like,
oh my God.
I always sometimes forget when I'm watching this show how like commanding Clark is. Because she's like not soft spoken, but she's just like I don't know how to describe it, but then there's these like important moments where she needs to like overpower somebody like mentally, and you can just see it, and she just like she sucks all of the confidence in the room, and she just has it all. And
It's a
that about
willpower
her.
thing, you know. She does that a lot too with little details in the writing, which I think is awesome. And that's my next note is like when Anders and all of the disciples left, and it's just them supposedly on the floor. She immediately was like, Miller, put him against the wall. Like, put him up against the wall. Yeah. Like, immediately assuming, like, the general in the middle of a wartime kind of deal. Yeah. And I was like, fuck yeah, all right, let's go. Let's see. I said, this is my next note. I said, yo, holy shit, how did we miss that? What a great explanation and logic. Octavia, Echo, and Dioza do know that Clark doesn't have the flame, and that's what the disciples want. And then I wrote down the quote, they never told them that it isn't in Clark, meaning that they're not actually with them. And I was like, yo.
That's what I started to piece that together too. But at the same time, I was like, how did they, because they were getting their minds like read.
Yeah.
So like, how could they leave that out?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, like honestly, we would have to go back and look at like the, the show. We'd have to watch the show to see, because they only really read Octavia, right? Like the others didn't give in, I think, and I don't even think they really tried with the others. Or if they did, I don't think we saw it. We didn't see it if they did. So all we know is that they read Octavia, and we would have to really go back and watch the show to see, like, Octavia, honestly, it's very possible that she saw that happen with Clark and then didn't see it come out, or then Octavia got busy in her other shit that she wasn't really worried too much, you know?
I can't remember if they knew, like, obviously they know that, but they know that she wouldn't have the flame because Maddie would have it.
But I also think that didn't the memory stuff, like, stop pretty at a certain point? Like, I don't think he caught up to present day.
No.
At all. I think it stopped. We'll have to analyze.
Because I'm just like, that's it's a little coincidental where it's like, oh, they, like, the three of them knew that Anders and them were looking for the flame, so they kind of constructed it so that they would so that they would see that Clark has the flame and not when she doesn't have the flame. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did like when they said that.
I like how they put it together because it put it together for the audience as well.
Yeah.
The last episode before they went on the break and before we went on the break, we were very like the last episode was made to be like, we don't know what Echo, Octavia, I mean, I guess Hope we do, but like Echo, Octavia, and Dioza, we don't know what they're really thinking and what they framed it as in we were debating. That's why I was so in love with this episode, because last episode we were debating, like, I mean, we could see Echo, but like, I'm not sure about the others, but like, we were debating which ones had the brainwashing actually worked on. Yeah. And the answer is none of them. And we were like,
I wish it would have gone.
Skipping a little bit, but
I wish it would have gone just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I wish they would have like kept this like mask over the audience and over like Clark and them a little bit longer, where you're really starting to like question like, oh, they actually might be brainwashed. Like we were thinking it, but at the same time we kind of weren't. And because it happened so fast, it's like, oh yeah, of course they're not brainwashed. But if it just kept on a little bit longer, then it might have been a little bit bigger of a surprise. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was really well done because the episode before was a very like, that story was very much them going through training and we really weren't sure. And now they have to, it kind of is a reveal of like because last episode ended with them in the end in the bridge room with Clark and whatnot. So this episode kind of had to be a reveal, you know?
Yeah.
But really we're skipping a little bit ahead because next they go to move Hope. This is where we really find out, and this is when I was like, oh shit, let's go. So Echo comes in with another disciple to move Hope and to send her to 20 years on penance, and like Echo charges Hope, or no, other way around. Hope charges Echo, and like super mad, and the other guard like subdues her, and then Echo stabs the other guard in the back of the throat. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. And then immediately Hope was a little confused. And Echo was like, you really didn't think I believed in this garbage, right?
Nah.
And I was like, yes, let's go. I really liked how they have connected these last two episodes specifically. So Echo gave Hope 1 hour to get everybody off of the planet, while Echo goes to kill everybody.
Yeah,
that's basically what
she doesn't give. She doesn't give Hope the plan because she knows that she would just tell the rest of them.
Yeah. Now we are back with Murphy, Amori, and Indra going to find Maddie. And they're going into the tavern, and they're like, "Are you sure this is where she is?" And they're like, "This is where she was last seen." I really like this scene.
Yeah.
This episode was great.
I was surprised by this scene. Like it was.
Yes.
It was just like. I don't know how to. When we talk about it, maybe it'll like.
So John goes up. John's the one that found her. She's like in like one of the top rooms, and she's legitimately having a panic attack.
Yeah.
And like John comes in and helps her like calm down from it, and like gives her a breathing exercise of like in through the nose for like 4 seconds, hold it, then out. Like I was like, fucking Murphy, let's go, dude.
It's like it's a little bit out of character. It's a little out of his character. But even in this episode, especially, we kind of see an arc in this episode with him by itself. Like we've seen an arc of his character forever. But
I don't think it's out of character because I think they've been building towards this the whole season. I mean, in general, just because of how shows and characters work. I guess
you just kind of
to this the whole time, but this season specifically, I mean, they laid the groundwork of that one scene where he is playing chess with Shade Haida, and he says something along the lines of like, "You're not." I can't remember what he was referring to, but he's like, "That's not a survivor's move. Like you helped somebody there. Like that's not. You weren't looking out for you and you only." Yeah. Like, and he had a moment too where he was like, "Oh shit, I wasn't." Like you're right, and that's just where Murphy's been going. I really think it has been, and I really thought this moment was earned too, because it's not a giant hero moment where he has had a couple of like hero moments, but this isn't like a huge thing. It's genuinely just he's caring about Maddie. That's it. Yeah. He just cared about Maddie, and it's not like Murphy has never cared about anyone else. Like, I mean, clearly when Murphy was still being the cockroach, you know, he fell for Amori, and Amori cared about him, and he cared about her. So like, it's not like he's been incapable of caring about other people the whole time. It's just always been him first. Yeah. And now I feel like he's not as in such a dangerous state that he has to prioritize himself. And I feel like he's letting himself like show care for other people. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
I really like it.
I even think that he cares for other people, like even when the things that he does when he was trying to like save Clark, or when he tries to save other people, it just doesn't look like he's caring because of the ways that he does it. But this was just raw caring for somebody, trying to help them calm down, and it was just really, it was I guess it was just different to see. And so it's like, even though I know that Murphy has a heart, it's just like, this is a nice, just raw scene of him just being emotional.
I can absolutely get it being a little bit jarring, but it wasn't super jarring to me because I thought that they built this up pretty well throughout the season of his arc. Also, just as somebody who everybody's panic attacks are different, but as somebody who's had a panic attack, I thought this was a really good, like, depiction. I was like, wow, good job.
I like it because like at first when I was watching the scene, I thought that like he was gonna start and then Maddie was gonna be like better right away, but they actually like made it feel
she
real.
was. It it didn't instantly cure her,
Yeah.
you know, like
It's
she's
not like you
still dealing with
breathe
shit.
once and then you're good. And she's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
good, I'm good. No, like
I remember talking to a friend of
It was a
mine.
long enough scene, and I appreciated
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I like that too. I remember talking to a friend of mine forever ago, and he like, I was kind of having a panic attack, and he told me, he's like, breathe in and do the breathing exercises that we've talked about. Do them 7 times, and I was like, I did it. It took me a while, and I was like, think I feel a little better. He's like, do 5 more. I was like, okay, like it doesn't happen instantly.
Yeah.
You gotta like give yourself time and stuff. So I like that it wasn't instant and whatnot too. And then Shade Hada started broadcasting from the palace. And then Indra was like, fuck, we gotta go. She runs outside and yells to Tree Crew, like, follow me to the palace. And then they all just kind of stand there for a second because they're still listening to him talk over the
broadcast.
speaker. And he's saying stuff about how Indra lied to them, blah, blah, blah. And then she turned immediately, was like, I gave you an order. And then they're like, all right, let's go. And I was like, shit, that's a little scary.
Yeah,
a little spooky.
it's not looking good for Indra.
No.
Even in this point of the episode, I was like, this is not
Yeah.
looking good.
Man, I have so many. Oh man, this episode did so much. Okay, so we're back with Bill, Nyla, Jordan, and Gabriel are all in the bridge room. Let's see. I really like this exchange where Nyla says something in like Grounder, and he's like, Bill says something like, she must have been important, my Callie, for her language to have lasted this long. I was like, aw. And then Nyla said, legend says when she died, even her enemies wept, talking about her. And I was like, that gets me hyped for the prequel series. I'm not gonna lie, dude.
But man, I've got a worm in my brain because because she's like, legends say this and legends say that, and I'm like, it was 100 years. So like your like grandfather would have told you. It's not like legend.
They really needed to depict the time a little bit more because it legitimately feels like 500 years. You know, like that's how they kind of depict everything. But
I am still excited, but I just always is in my mind thinking
that's a solid point
when they talk about the past.
That's a good point. But yeah, she I like that line. Let's see. I really liked Gabriel and Bill talking too, which we get later. We get more of. I like Bill being like, it's nice to talk to someone from my time, because Gabriel and Bill,
you forget.
It's so cool. Yeah, they're both like immortal beings who have been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Like, that's so cool.
Like, we forget,
to see
especially
them
with Gabriel. With Gabriel, like, we forget that he's not this guy. Even like the beginning of this season, I don't think of him as like, oh yeah, he used to be like one of the what is it?
The primes.
The primes. And so he's had like multiple bodies and then this, and you forget that. And so it's almost nice to be reminded. It's like, oh yeah, like he's not the same as Bill, but like they're still kind of they
I wish
get the
Gabriel
same
kind of it made me be like, I wish Gabriel kind of showed a little bit more of like his wisdom. Because somebody who's been around for hundreds of years, they're gonna learn a lot, and like that's something later in another thing I had a question about. But it's very cool. It's a cool idea of the two people talking who were from like modern day. Let's see, and then they start. Bill just casually gets up and is like, "Let me show you stuff." Goes over to the computer, blah blah blah. Yeah, he's the shepherd. And then he shows them the logs from the Bardoans, and he starts explaining how, basically, if I got this right, they're living off of like a prophecy from the Bardoans. That's what they're doing. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, okay, interesting. Bill then just decides, he's like, I'm going to get lunch, and just walks out. And I wrote, Bill walking out was definitely going to happen. They let him get way too comfortable. The second he stood up, I thought that. Then he also started going over the computer. I was like, why were you letting him do that? He could be sending out messages. Like, you don't know.
He's just,
they let him get very comfortable.
He's a charming guy.
Yeah, that'll get you a lot of places in life, from what I hear. Let's see. Then it cuts to Dioza and Octavia in the room, and that's when we learn that like all 3 of them knew, all 3 of them were in on this the whole time.
None of them are brainwashed.
Yeah, for sure. They were talking about how they very clearly had a plan, and I was like, let's go. That's awesome. And then Clark, Clark and the group walks in. Immediately, her and Octavia started hugging, and I was like, oh, that's really sweet. It's really sweet.
He still better not be dead because that was such a bullshit way to die.
He's not dead. There's no way. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. And then the part that I really liked is they're all talking about shit. Hope runs in. Yeah. And all of the original group like puts the guns on her, like, fuck, who is this? And then Dios is like, she's cool. She's with us. It's my daughter. Time dilation is a bitch, I think she said.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh. And I thought this was a really cool thing because this is something that I've thought about a lot, of how, like, when they meet Hope, none of them know her.
But, like, she knows of them.
She knows
like, all of their stories.
Yeah, I like that. She was like, you described them well. She, like, pointed out each of them.
Yeah.
I was like, it's really cool. Let's see. And then they find out about Echo's plan. Yeah, about, like, what she's going to do. They don't know how. They go to find Levitt because all of them were like, we're not leaving without Echo. We're not gonna, like, let her do this. And Hope was very much like, hey, fuck it, let her do it, man. Let her do it. I don't care.
I mean,
and then Dioza had this whole
Hope.
speech.
Like,
Dioza had this whole speech of, like, talking Hope down from killing innocents. And then I wrote in my notes, which is what they're doing. There are many kids here. Like,
have we seen
there
any
are children? Yes, there was a whole scene in a classroom. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. There are kids here. They grew the babies in the weird pods.
Yeah, but so they're not even like.
Well, there are kids.
They're sort of kids, but they're like
raised
test
in a
tube
fucked
kids.
up way, sure. But they're still kids, and they're still humans, and they could still grow into, with different teachings than this, which, like, strips away all your humanity. But yeah. Let's see. And then it goes to Maddie is in the place with, like, kids and family of all, like, the dead followers. And she's, like, sitting there with a dude, like, who's crying probably over his dead, like, parents or something. Which, by the way, shout out to that actor. Don't know who he is. He was just an extra, but he was, like, doing a really good job of crying.
It was a very like
broken down.
It was a longer, like, shot, and so I thought that was gonna have more of a meaning, but no, it was just they were just trying to
did a really
set the
great
tone.
job of acting that. I was like, shit, dude. And then let's see. Murphy was basically telling Amori that he's gonna go after the family of the followers because that's his second biggest threat next to Maddie is people who are gonna want revenge.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely not wrong. We see that later. He says that later. The next scene is Gabriel and Bill having lunch.
Was this, or wait, just before when it was Amori and Murphy talking, was that the scene where like Murphy, they're talking about like they have to save the families because that's their next target, and then Amori's like, if we save them, then like we're targets as well, and then John says something about like he kind of like acknowledges that because like right now they're sort of not on Shade Hada's hit list. Yeah, they're pretty much minuscule to what he needs or like who he wants to kill. So then by them saving those people, they're kind of standing in the way between, so they're just putting targets on their own backs. And I think that was like a very powerful thing at that point because like spoilers, like they do, and so it's like they are kind of fighting Shade Hada like head on when they didn't need to.
Murphy is sticking his neck out for
like Murphy's like, again, he's just time and time again he's getting more and more like a hero, I guess.
Yeah. I think he's kind of starting to realize, I don't know. I think he has slowly let himself care more to the point of his old instincts used to be like, well, shit, let's do everything for self-preservation. Let's not touch that at all. We're just going to peace out. Yeah. Like that would be his old instincts. But I feel like they've grown his character to a place where this does make sense. For sure. Yeah. But yeah, it goes over to Gabriel and Bill. They're having lunch. They're talking about philosophy and life and what it
Such
means
a
to be human.
strange like dinner scene, but it was like really good. Like it was just,
Yeah,
it was
I
very,
like that a lot.
I thought
very
that like
fun
Bill
scene.
in this conversation, he's trying to like kind of get Gabriel onto his side because he's like, we're
Yeah.
the same kind of guy. You and me, we're we're our own
We could be
people.
best buds,
Just come with me, and we can do whatever we want, and we can rule this cult. And he was really just
Be by
trying
my side,
to.
yeah.
He
My
was
right-hand
trying.
man. Yeah. I liked how it started out where he's like, oh, it has stuff from our time, and he's like, maybe my mom's time.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, you don't need to calm down. But this is the bit where I thought was interesting. He mentioned how the kombucha reminded him of his grandmother in Colombia, and I was like, how crazy is that he remembers that? There's no way. And I started thinking
That's the
about it. I was
brain,
like, there's
man.
no way the human brain is capable of that. You're not capable of remembering hundreds of years of your own memory. Like
I think like
hundreds.
something like that can.
I mean, I bet it is part of the chip. Like,
Yeah, it
I
could be.
bet part of that is helping with memory. Because, like, it's just crazy to me to think. This is where I started thinking that about Gabriel, too, where I wish he had kind of. He does have a pretty commanding presence, but I wish he had more of one because he is somebody who literally, like, you're not a god just from living hundreds of years, but, like, as people, you grow a lot in your time. Like, there is a reason that older people are more wise because they have more life experience. Like, it's a you grow more, right? So somebody who has had so much more time to grow and to learn, I'm like, that's so cool. And the fact right here that he does remember stuff from early on is very cool. It was a very cool moment where I was like, shit, you remember that, dog? That was a long time ago.
And maybe he doesn't remember like specifics, but it's like, especially with like food and smells and stuff like that, those things like trigger something in your brain that you can just be like, oh, it just, obviously we don't even know like how capable like the brain is, but yeah, I can understand that he can remember something like that.
Yeah, I mean, memory is weird too. It's very possible that he remembers one little thing from that, and nothing else from those. You know what I mean? You never know. And then let's see. I liked Gabriel's quote where he was like, "Join your cause to save the human race by denying everything that makes me human."
That's exactly I put the exact same thing. It's like none of this makes sense. I know that they're trying to be like, oh, we need to fight the last war for all of mankind, but then to fight the last war for all of mankind, you have to throw away everything that makes you human. And I'm like, then what's the point of living? Like that doesn't.
There is one. The whole thing that's super interesting to me, and that it makes sense, right? It's such a shame though, but like the way Bill thinks is absolutely just it's immaturity. It's like someone who never learned. He's still dealing with the loss. He mentioned how like the betrayal of somebody you trust is the worst pain you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
So instead of learning from the pain and growing from it and experiencing like, being a human, he was like, I'm just denying myself any emotion. Yeah. It's absolutely shutting yourself down. It's immaturity. It's something that you do when you're a kid. It's a defense mechanism. But like, and I did it for a long time too. Just speaking from personal experience of like, shut down. Don't experience any discomfort. Don't put yourself out of your comfort zone. You'll be fine where you are,
numb
right?
the feeling.
And but you don't grow. That's an immature way to think. And I was like, man, that's just childish, bro. Like you're still not allowing yourself any sort of growth. Like
so when he said that, the whole betrayal is like the worst thing or something like from somebody that you trust. Was he talking? Do you think he was talking like from experience? Like he was talking about Callie, or
he could have been talking about either Callie and her mom as well, his wife. So, but wait, weren't they divorced? I think they were divorced.
Maybe. Yeah, they might have been, but like still, they had kids together. So
yeah.
But yeah.
And maybe he was talking about even more, but it's very possible that he was just talking about that. That's what I was thinking. And then it goes back to the Clark group. They walk in on Levitt like half dead. Like it's sitting there
I'm
tortured.
just like, man, Echo, like she's just
She's fucked
too
up.
extreme. But like I
very
love
extreme.
it. Like it's just
Yeah.
You need that one person that's just ready to fly off the handle.
You always need that, you know.
And at first it
In
was
any
Murphy,
friend group.
and now it seems like it's Echo.
Yeah. I like this. I was like, even with Levitt like beat to shit, he's still fangirling over the main characters.
Yeah.
He's like fanboying over all of them. He's like, oh, look, it's Clark and all that. And I was like, yeah, dude, he's still like portraying the viewer. And I
Yeah.
really like that for like the final season. And then he basically admits that he broke and he told her where to get stuff and whatnot. And Octavia leaves him, just stuffs
Yeah, I know.
the gag back in and leaves him.
And I was like, I was pretty stoked
Is that
on
it? Did she just leave him there forever? Now they're gonna escape. We didn't finish the episode and they haven't escaped, so we don't know what's gonna happen there. But like, that's it. She's just like, well, sorry, bud, you betrayed me once. Peace the f out. I mean, I guess it's fair.
It's
But
just
I was just like, wow, okay.
So then, but then it pulls into question the time that they spent together in the last episode, because you started to see them like have an intimate moment, and then it's like, but was that all for show? Because like,
Yeah, it's a good question.
She didn't want like Levitt even thinking that she wasn't going along with the.
Yeah, maybe she didn't fully trust him because she thought he might break.
Yeah.
And, who knows? But let's see. And then it cuts back to Nyla and Jordan on the bridge. And I really like Nyla's just like chilling. She's like, what are the odds everything works out? We just walk out of here. And then there's silence. And she's like, that's what I thought. I was like,
Jordan and Nyla, they're like dialogue together. I was like,
it was really
these
good.
two are great. It's
Yeah,
like, man,
it was a really good like comedic moment.
Jordan though,
kind of.
like his
This is
character,
one of my favorite moments.
His character though has had a full kind of not 360, like a 180, because at the beginning of this season, even to the end of last season, I was
It feels
really
like
questioning.
they kind of abandoned his story.
Yeah,
It
that's
feels
what I
like
was-
they had a plan for it, and they were like, you know what? No,
they're
let's
like-
not do that.
yeah,
We're gonna put him with the group.
They
and
had
he's gonna
this
be
line
fine.
of like where they were going to take his character, and they just like erased it and put it somewhere else because he feels like a totally different character now
He feels like how he felt at the beginning
of like last season.
Yeah, it feels like how he felt before he started getting all cultish.
Yeah.
And like they were just like, you know what, never mind. And I guess it kind of makes sense because he even himself had a moment where he was like, never mind. But it still feels like there was a storyline there, and maybe they will come back to it for a little bit, but it definitely feels like they kind of left it.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, this is one of my favorite moments in this whole episode. It's such a cool idea. He starts talking about, because he knows Korean, because his dad, Monty, shout out, Monty's dad knew Korean.
Yeah.
And he, like, Monty passed on, like, the little bit that he knew. And he started explaining how, like, the Korean language has an alphabet, but it's not based off of characters. It's, like, based off of blocks, and each block you, like, build upon in a way, right? That's how I got it. If you know Korean and I am wrong, let me know. I'm just going off of the show. Yeah, it basically, the idea, at least the best way that I could understand it from the show, was that it's built off of blocks. So you start with something and then you build off of that for letters or whatever. It's not just like, here's an A. This is a character. You know what I mean? It's not like that. And he started explaining, like, if they don't know this as a concept of language, it's totally possible that they mistranslated this.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a fucking cool idea. Because what knowledge do they have to translate, right? Is it just from Bill? Is he passing on what they have and their history books and whatnot that they collected and put in the bunker? Like, whatever knowledge that they had in the bunker, is that all of the knowledge that they have? Is that it? Like, do they not know that Korean
or like any
as
other
a language existed?
That's the thing, is it's weird.
It's totally possible.
Yeah, like it's
odd, but like I could see it.
You would think that they would do their due diligence when trying to like create an alphabet from the Bardoan language.
Yeah, but it's totally possible, and at least
yeah.
I thought it seemed totally possible that they did their due diligence, and that just doesn't exist. They don't have any Korean like language whatsoever. It is not preserved. The world has been through all sorts of nuclear war, and then now they're on another planet. And so, like,
you would think,
possible.
this is like the whole Noah's Ark thing where he takes like 2 of each animal, but it's like you think that Bill would take like 2 of each like race to preserve some of like what humanity is. I want to go back and watch the what is it backdoor pilot episode and like see the ethnicity of all the people that are going,
and they still
it's like,
might not know Korean though.
No, but that's the thing is like, don't you think it's like you're leaving this planet?
Don't you think you would try to preserve as much of like the world history and
the people that you were bringing?
You could. I would think so, but I don't know. America's real whitewashed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about it. But I would hope that you would try, but like, I don't know if I trust Bill, a guy named Bill, to do so. You know what I mean? Let's see. But yeah, that was such a cool concept. I really like that because it was very weird and different, but totally believable. Like I said, the world has been through so much shit that I'm like, totally get it if Korean did not last. Like, I get it. Let's see. And then it goes to Tree Crew and Indra. They're searching the palace. He's reciting the lineage of the commanders to like prove that he is the commander. And I was like, shit, that's crazy. And then she walks in. I said, whoa, that costume change. He is 100% in new. I
wrote LOL because I was like, what is this? Like, he's got some weird, he's got a weird haircut.
It totally works.
He's got the makeup on.
It's very grounder.
It is, but it's just like, it's hard because you're still used to seeing him as like Russell and just like this guy where it was just a fun.
I don't know.
I just need a little bit of time and I'll probably get used to it. It's just a very subtle, or it's a very like sudden change, and I'm like, whoa, what you wearing, dog?
I liked it, I think, because it wasn't just the clothing. If they had kept the same hairstyle and whatnot, I feel like it would have been even more weird. But he also, like, his face was shaved a little differently, and there was, like, grounder makeup, and, like, his hair was, like, fucking shaved differently. And, like, I don't know. I thought I thought it fit.
And he's just crazy. Like, I gotta say, he is crazy, and he the actor plays it perfectly. Because I'm just like, man, you are on some shit. Like, he is just I don't know. It's just so expressive. It's not even crazy.
He's just very like. I mean, his tactics are severe, and like, no empathy whatsoever. Just absolutely like cutthroat. You know, that's all he is. But it's not completely insane to where it doesn't make sense. Like, he makes a decision later and you're like, well, it's not wrong. But yeah, so I'm not this is the note that I have on this. I said, Indra walking in and saying we will not kneel has been the most badass thing I've ever seen. Like, literally the music and the sound effects when she walks in, like, he started doing the kneel or die thing. And then she like burst open the door and was like, and started speaking in grounder and was basically like, fuck no, we ain't kneeling, motherfucker. It was awesome. It was so good. And she goes up and challenges him to single combat.
I like that, like out of everybody, she's the only one that is not afraid of him.
Well, she's the one. She is the one trying to keep them together and leading the group. And she had to not be afraid. And I think to a degree, like, when the duel starts, he says something like, "Thank you for giving me exactly what I wanted. This was the goal." And I think she knew that, and I think that's why she was a little like, I wouldn't say afraid, because she wasn't afraid. She did challenge him and whatnot. But I think she knew that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
But I think she knew that, like, there's no other choice. You know what I mean? Like, she had to.
Yeah.
But yeah, she challenges him to single combat. And we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, they're going to fight because my food is on my front porch and I have to go get that. We're back. The fight is beginning. Because Indra challenges him to single combat, and which is, by the way, like that term in that language has such a history in this show that it made it even more badass and even more of a cool, meaningful moment. Because like those words, I can't say them. I don't want to make a fool of myself trying to say them. But those words, like the way she says it, is absolutely like something that like past commanders have said, and like it's a big like.
Well, that's like how they decide.
It was a familiar term, and it was like
when there's the conclave, and then the last two fight, and then the one who like survives becomes the commander. So it is like a very historical thing in their like culture.
It immediately then goes to the fight, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. Good fight. But I liked it.
Dude,
it was
immediately
good choreography.
right off the bat, shot totally different. Like different cameras. It seemed like like it was very like the production is shifted. That all of the budget for this episode, not all we see where some of it goes later, but like a big portion of the budget for this episode is right here. I was like, the second it shifted, I was like, oh, okay.
But they kind of needed it because like you have two, like you have Indra and you have Shade Haida.
It's a big moment.
Two of like,
so I'm glad they
did. Know how to fight. So you can't do a close up, close like shots for a fighting scene. You need to actually like choreograph it out, show them like from far away, and I like that's when I know it's a good fighting scene, when it's not like you see like somebody's elbow and then you see like somebody like when it's like this close,
or when it's the there's also always the arrow style of fighting, which is
what's that?
Shaky camera. That's it. Oh god, I have so I don't want to talk about
good fighting scenes are hard, and when like you see them and they're good, it just makes it just that much better. Like I'm impressed.
I like this one. This was good, but yeah, it was also. I mean, I can't criticize this, but it was very much like there's one shot where she disarms him and his sword like goes into the water, and it like the camera pans over, and the water is not CG, I don't think, but like the background is, like very clearly, and it's like, but it's fine. Let's see, and then, I wrote she really did give him exactly what he wanted, and then like basically the fight goes, he's about to win at the end, but she does give him a run for his money. She stabs him in like the shoulder with a knife. And then as she's on the ground, he's about to like finish her. Like he like swings the sword. And I like the way they shot this too, because you're not sure who it is.
Yeah.
You just see a boot like jump on a chair and like fucking jump, and it's Maddie. It fucking slashes his eye, and I was like, shit, Maddie, holy fuck. And then honestly, my next note, I wrote, fuck me. Indra kneeling is worse than her dying.
Yeah, I know.
Like, God damn it. I would have rather her die than her kneel.
I had an issue because it's like, okay, Maddie comes in. I was like, Maddie with the save. And she just like slices his eye. And then she does nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to... She's still Maddie. She's
I
not
guess, but
the commander anymore. She's just like a 14-year-old kid.
But she still has like some fighting like ingrained in her.
Probably.
Like she remembers it.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be something.
Yeah, that's true. She did only have a knife. Like
but then he just like pushes her over.
Yeah, he's just like, all right.
He's like, okay, kid. Thanks for stabbing my eye. Let the grown-ups do the talking.
Stiff arm. Just like, she's trying to reach for her. Oh, my God. And then, so Indra kneels because she's like, spare her life, I will kneel, because he was about to kill Maddie. And then she does that, which is so sad, like so heartbreaking. Because Indra is very much the only one that will not kneel, because if she does, everyone else will. Yeah. Like, she's the last holdout. So she knew what she was doing, but it was even sadder because after that like happens, she pretty quickly like passes out, and then the moment that she passes out, Shade Haida immediately goes back on his promise. Yeah. Immediately, he was like, sure. And then the second that she's not looking, he looks to find Maddie. Like it's like she passes out, and he was immediately gonna be like, all right, like
you can't trust.
And then
him.
Maddie was. Yeah, Maddie was gone, and he turns to I think the guy's name is Knight, and he said like, find the girl and kill her.
Yeah.
Like immediately. I was like, motherfucker, this piece of garbage. And then let's see. Later, he goes into the palace and finds that they like hadn't. What did he say? I can't. Oh yeah, he said they left the dead. Find their families and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all like in Grounder. He's very much like taking charge now.
Yeah.
And you see like Knight, the leader of like the Ice Clan or whatever, the dude from the Ice Clan that we've seen the whole time. Immediately he was like, the children too? And he was like, children grow up to adults who want revenge. These won't. And I was like, shit, you're right. But like,
yeah, I think it's very weird because you think like even the Ice Clan and the other Grounders, like their ancestors used to serve or used to like follow Shade Haida, so that's why they know of him and all of this stuff. But then over the years, like you've seen like Grounders, they've evolved, they've learned,
100%.
they've become more compassionate, and they become more human and less like primitive Grounder. So and so it's good that like the one guy, he said like the children too, like he was even questioning it. And so I think that there is going to still be
even in this clan, his clan, they have also learned, you know.
So it is weird that they're following him. Obviously now they're just following out of fear, I'm guessing. I have a theory.
He's still hesitant.
I have a theory about like I think by the like whoever I think Murphy's gonna kill Shade Haida. I think that's.
Bro, could you imagine?
I think that's the thing here, because we've had these two. It's like I don't.
He
think
would have to like. That would be so interesting too, because the way that it would have to be done Murphy would have to like outsmart him in a way.
And I think that's the thing. But I think that's the thing is I think Murphy is smarter than him.
Oh yeah.
In like a more mischievous way, I think.
Yeah.
But I feel that like Murphy's gonna be the one to kill him.
That would be so dope.
That
would be really cool.
I hope I'm gonna lock it down.
So down with that.
That's gonna be my prediction.
Lock it down. Remember when you thought the shepherd was gonna be Cain?
Yeah, that would have been cool. I don't know how they would have explained it, but it would have been like a good
cool.
Oh my god moment.
You did kind of walk that back and just say that he was gonna be someone that we knew, and technically you're not entirely wrong.
We're supposed to sort of know him.
He did exist before. I think it was just a picture of him, but
we saw him on an iPad on like a video.
Yeah,
but it still was like a very like aside of who he was.
Yeah.
But
you're not wrong. But yeah, the Murphy and all of the kids and their families and whatnot are hiding down in the bunker. And see, they're planting the seed even more because Amori says something like, "Don't look now, John, but you're looking like somebody who people could look up to."
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you're starting to do these things, and he's like, shit. But I like that they're planting the seed, you know. So this right here, man, the last scene of the episode, shit's getting real. So Echo is in the room where they're gonna spread the virus, which I didn't even mention before. That's how she's gonna do it.
Gem 9.
That's what Levitt told her. The M9, which is what killed the Bardoans before.
Gem 9
spreads through the water. Yeah, Gem 9. It spreads through the water, so she's in. The thing.
Why do they just
she opens
have
up
that?
a pipe. It's going through here. Yeah, no. Why do you still have that?
Why do you
get
have
rid of that?
like,
Oh my god.
If this is something that could just like we've seen it.
Hey man, they gotta fight the last war.
Okay,
Maybe they're gonna use it to win the last war.
Oh, before we get into the last scene, I just want to take it back to when Jordan and them were deciphering the language in like say Korean. He was saying like that the last war that they're talking about might not be a war, but a test. And then
which I don't know how he came up with that. Because, like, I get seeing that it could be wrong, but how did you immediately come up with, like, a codex of your own?
Yeah, like, it is a little fast for him to be like, oh, well, this...
pretty quick.
This whole thing here...
I totally get the characterization, like, being wrong because of the whole, like, the way that they translated it might be the wrong way, but how did he then do it correctly immediately?
Yeah. Well, maybe
lot.
not. It's not
But
even
yeah.
like correctly, but maybe he's just like I thought he was sort of guessing a little bit. Like he was sort of saying
Yeah.
like, okay, well, if this was war, and then if I had to translate, I don't know, like.
Yeah.
But I do
so
like.
basically
I like.
the idea is if you enter the idea that Jordan has is that like if you enter the right code, it is a test
Instead of
for
like
your
initiating the
species.
last war,
Yeah.
you put in the Konami code.
then you start the war.
and
The
then
war
you start
begins.
the war.
Against who? Who knows?
But yeah, so if it's a test, they're thinking like whoever puts in the code, I guess, does the test. And
I will say that's one way to get out of a big budget last battle with a bunch of aliens.
that's true.
one
But
way
like,
to get
wouldn't
out of it.
that's what Becca, like that's what happened to Becca,
Yeah.
because she put in
Yeah.
that code, and
Yeah,
then like
you're
she
right.
went somewhere and then came back, and then she was, what did she?
Shit.
I forget what she said.
Oh, you're right. Maybe. Oh, so that's why he thinks. I didn't even
Maybe she
connect this.
failed.
That's why he. That's why he thinks that the person with the AI with the flame knows the code because Becca did that, and that's what he's. Maybe that. Yeah.
So the AI knows the code. Yeah, the AI remembers
yeah.
the code. But maybe she went and took the test and failed.
Yeah.
Or something.
And they brought her back. Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows? But yeah. What did she say? What didn't Becca say
I thought she
something
said
when she
like
came
we
back
were all
with what
we're all
she saw?
doomed, or she
Yeah,
said
it was something like very doomsday. It was something like the worst thing I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
she was very, like,
or something like
traumatized.
that. Yeah. I had it written down. Do you remember what episode that was? Was that episode 8? I think
Well,
it
that was the backdoor. Yeah, the backdoor pilot.
Oh, she said she saw Judgment Day. That was
Oh, yeah.
those were the words. So Judgment Day. As in,
Judgment test.
you're getting judged. It's a
yeah.
test. Jordan, look at you over here. Hell yeah. So yeah, they're down in the engine room, or I don't forget the engine, the water room, the sewage room. They open a pipe. Echo's about to like release the virus that's gonna just murder everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
Or at least on the compound. And then they come in. My whole thing with this scene, I wrote down like this is a scene where they're very clearly like Echo's on the edge, and the scene is 100% based off of writing, where the writing, this scene, for them to nail this scene, the writing has to be impeccable because it's a tough thing to talk someone emotionally off of an edge like that.
Yeah.
Like,
especially somebody like Echo.
you have to nail that. And I wrote down at the end, like, they talked her down and she stopped. And I was like, I don't know if they nailed that, but it was good enough to where it worked.
I think
like,
Raven nailed it.
Yeah.
I don't-
Raven
like-
was the one who talked her down.
When Raven started getting into like that whole thing where she said like, because Echo said something like,
There was good writing.
if like you were killed and Bellamy was here, like Bellamy would be where I'm standing. And then Raven
Yeah.
goes into like the Bellamy who killed like an army in their sleep. He might be here, but not the one.
Yeah.
Again, he's grown. He's learned. He's
Not
evolved.
the one who spent
he's
5 years
matured.
with us on the ring.
He would not be here. And
Yeah.
then she gets a little like emotional, and I even got a little emotional. I'm like, I don't really care. Like I like Raven and Echo, but like when
They
was just
definitely
like-
have not had a lot of screen time or anything together.
yeah.
But she goes into a whole like, you're my sister, like,
and I was like, oh,
yeah,
like, it got me. It got
and
me.
it works because they spent like 5 years together.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally believable for sure. Even though we haven't seen it,
Give me
I'm
a
still
give
with
me a
it.
sitcom of them, the 5 years where they're on.
I need a sitcom of Nyla and Jordan together. That's
Yeah.
what I need. Oh man, that was great. But yeah, so they talked her down. Andrews comes down, and it was like, y'all motherfuckers. He starts just like dissing them, just going into like, you're
he's
so
so-
selfish.
He's such a whiny bitch, though. I'm just like, oh my god. He's like, you disgust me.
You selfish. You can't put
It's
the,
like,
the,
dude,
the,
what do you expect? Like, what do you expect?
He
I just-
expects them to put the interests of the human collective over themselves.
I just like his
And their
composure during like his tantrum, because he was still
Yeah.
very like, just like very just
Prim and proper.
deadpan and just like very monotone, but the words he was speaking was like those were the words.
Please watch the video version.
Those were the words, but he was just like a robot. It was great. I liked it.
It was very.
But I was
he
like,
was
man,
just
he's such a
dissing
tool.
them.
I was like, he's such a tool.
Yeah. It's like you're just primal beasts, you know, like with your emotions. And I was like, bro, Jesus. But at one point, Clark's like, we had a deal. If I saw any of you, I was not going to help. And he was like, that's before you killed that's before we found 3 of our disciples, or 2 of them dead and one of them like tortured.
And trying to like release the Gem 9
no,
too.
3 of them dead, 1 of them tortured. Yeah. And then they start talking about this for a bit.
Dioza gives him back
you know,
the Gem 9.
Yeah, Miller's like, that's big talk from somebody surrounded by primal beasts with guns. And I actually kind of like that moment. That was good. And then,
It was cheesy, but it was good.
Yeah, Dioza's like, he's not alone. And then the 4 invis disciples pop up. And then, like, shit's about to go down. Like, they're about to start shooting. And then Hope's just like, you know what? You. And then just slices his neck open, grabs the Gem 9.
No.
And
No, the Gem 9 just falls.
it falls.
Yeah.
And then she grabs it as it's falling. She puts her hands out, grabs it, and then runs over. All she gets out is just a little drop.
And it's slow motion.
To the water in slow motion, which I actually thought the scene was done really well. It was kind of cheesy slow motion, but it's still, I don't know, it worked. And then Dioza ran over. I do have a question about the scene when I finish it. Dioza ran over and put her hand under and took it so that it got her, and then the crystal
water
started spreading. Yeah. And then Hope realized what she did, and I think it was Octavia who was like pulling Hope back.
Yeah.
And was like, we gotta get the fuck out of here now. And Dioza was like, go, get out of here. And then they all like left and closed the door and like pulled Hope out, and Hope basically killed her mom.
Yeah. And I love that.
Also, dude, it was a great scene.
It's a great
so fucked up.
It's a great
Like,
way of showing like how meaningless like revenge is and stuff like
Yeah.
it teaches Hope like this a huge lesson. And like Dios has been saying this the whole like episode to Hope, like that like revenge isn't worth it, and then when she's like being crystallized, she's like, be better than me and stuff like that, and it's just, it is a
Dioza had such growth this season, and it all made sense and it all worked.
it was a death that was earned. Like it
Her
didn't
arc
feel
was
cheap.
really good.
Like this is the thing. That's how you take out a character, like a fairly main character. That's how you kill them off.
It's not
you don't
gonna
just
be
do it
as-
with Bella. You don't
No.
just be like, oh, peace out, a big explosion.
He's dead.
No body.
No,
That's how you kill
It's
off a
like-
character.
it's like my favorite thing about talking about is like the discourse around like Marvel's Avengers. Every time when people talk about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, you know, Cap's dead at the beginning of the game,
You know he's not
but he has a
dead."
whole he has a whole skill line and totally dead though, not gonna be playable. Nope." It's like, what are they even trying to do? Like with both of these, who are you trying to convince? You're not convincing anybody. It would
have been cool though if like that was the secret. If they somehow could have like kept that buried.
They somehow could have like make us believe for sure. That would have been really cool. But yeah, dude, this scene was really well done. I liked it. Rest in peace, Dioza, dude.
And
First
Anders.
major death
And
on the
Anders.
podcast. What are we gonna do? Oh,
He
yeah,
got
and
crystallized too.
Anders. Oh no. My major question of this scene: what the fuck happened to the disciple soldiers? The 4 disciple soldiers.
I think they
They're
were
gone.
still like maybe they ran. They probably ran.
Yeah, but like, when they fight, when they see that their leader just got sliced, when they start
I
shooting,
don't know. I have to watch that again.
They
Did
just
they didn't like
stopped.
knock them out
Just
and leave them
disappeared.
in the room?
I would have. The only thing that I could think would that Miller would like shoot and kill him, but like, I don't think that happened.
Yeah, because when we
I
were
at least
seeing
didn't hear it.
the room crystallized, we only saw Anders' body. I think
Yeah,
ground.
I don't think they were in there. I don't know.
Also, props
That's
to
a
the
good- that's my
props
only
to the
complaint with
CG
this.
department, because this was a
Actually
really
looked pretty
it
solid.
actually looked really
for
good,
sure.
and I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
and then when it was going around Dioza, I was like, okay, that looks
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I legit think they saved up a lot of money for this episode. Like,
Yeah.
the production on the fight was really good, and the CG on Dioza was really good for sure. Yeah, man, that's the episode. A lot of shit happened. I really liked it. I really love the Korean thing. I thought that was a really cool little detail and just such a cool sci-fi thing for the show. And I'm honestly glad they killed off a main character. I'm glad Andrew's alive, but they're gonna have a lot to deal with Shane Hada. Like, Murphy's stepping up into a hero role. Just here's your little recap. You know, lots of things happening, lots of things to look forward to.
Yeah, Clark's not in this episode, like, or not in this. I feel she's not in this season too much.
Who is?
Clark. Like, I just don't feel her presence, I guess, that much in this season.
Yeah.
It's
They're
okay.
juggling a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of characters and a lot of
different storylines.
a lot of plot
Because it was
lines.
before,
Yeah.
I think it was like at the max, there's like 3, maybe even 4 sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. This, you know, like we've talked about this. The show was canceled, and last season was the beginning of book 2, and book 1 lasted 5 seasons, right? Like 5 seasons.
Yeah, 5.
So like, it was very clear that he had a lot of things he wanted to do. So condensing, I'm sure he cut just a lot of it, but I'm sure he kept a lot of it as well. And condensing that into one season is a lot of work.
So you know what he should have done?
Very jam-packed season.
What they should have done is they should
Sell
have
it to Netflix.
made the season like how they're making it now, but then have
Or
like
HBO.
a somewhat of a cliffhanger ending, like a little bit of like it's like a Inception ending.
So I'm seeing it.
Okay, it's like a cliffhanger. Like it makes you think, makes you like,
Yeah.
well, does this mean this, or does it
Makes
mean
you
this?
question.
Because then it's totally possible that, especially in today's day and age, where like after this last season, there's like a surge of excitement about the show. People are liking it, and you know it could get bought by somebody else. It could be a Netflix show, and then they just pick
Sure.
it up from there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just don't tie a perfectly neat bow where it's like everybody lived happily ever after. I want like just
Yeah.
a hint of
They're
like
not
something.
Oh man, how really are they going to end this?
I don't know.
Because I'm very wrapped up in this season. It's hard because this season, like we said, has a lot going on, very complicated storylines and whatnot. There's a lot happening here, but like, it's also one of those things with like, I'm interested to see how they wrap up those storylines and how they wrap up the season. But I'm also super interested, but I just haven't thought about it a lot, in how they wrap up the show. Like, the characters, like the entirety of the show. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I think it'll
We'll have
be
to see. It's
endings
6
are
more
tough.
episodes.
Endings are very tough to get good. But yeah, I
Endings
predict
when
that,
you've been
that Clark's
canceled are
gonna
even more tough.
Clark's gonna go. She's gonna put in the code. She'll go and take the test. That's my other prediction.
Go and take that test for sure.
She's gonna and then she'll ace it.
She's gonna take that math test, dude. She's gonna ace
She's
it.
gonna ace
Let's
it.
go.
Flying colors.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see her sit down with the timer, put your pencils down. That
She's
whole
got all
thing.
the number
Great.
2 pencils. Got a sharpener.
Yep. A calculator.
And then the
no games
Bardoans,
on the calculator.
are just sitting there, just like looking at her while she's taking the test.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's gonna be good. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This was a little bit longer of one for sure because there was a lot to cover.
It was a good episode.
I'm gonna go eat my Chinese food that I ordered. I'm pretty stoked about it.
I'm gonna go play Horizon.
Yeah, dude. Nice. Did you ever beat that on PlayStation?
Oh yeah,
or-
I platinumed it in a week.
Then what? What are you doing?
Because
Why
now it's on
playing it
PC. It's gorgeous. There's an
Well, yeah,
FOV
but, like-
slider. It's oh my god, it's so much. It's so nice.
I mean, I believe it.
I don't have anything
But,
else to
like,
play.
This man plays so many video games. It's
But I
very
don't.
impressive.
I play like Destiny and then like whatever
God.
is. Destiny is something else. It was Ghost. I'm bored with Ghost.
I have stopped playing Ghost, but not to any fault of that game. Like, I still really want to get back to it, I just got really into this fucking Game Pass game that I'm playing a lot of, and I got really into Rogue Company, and now my capture card has problems, so, like, it's a whole thing. But I really like that game a lot.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. It's a very pretty game. It's just not, it just becomes very samey after, like, say 20 hours.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I want to get back to it, but I can totally see that. Yeah, I feel like it would be one of those things where you got to space out, you know?
Yeah.
Play like every other day.
And it's a simple story, so it's not like, yeah, I will go back to it eventually, but...
Yeah. I'm excited. Hopefully I can get things fixed. But if you ever want to see any of that gameplay, if you ever want to see me play the Avengers beta, which I think I'm going to play either tonight or tomorrow night on stream, twitch.tv/TeddyChinares. And also Twitter and Instagram at the same place. Tyson, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Tyson Pellegrini, Instagram Pellegrini_17, and Twitch T Pellegrini. I don't know if I'm gonna play Horizon on stream tonight. I might play it on stream tomorrow.
Ooh, streaming.
Which is Sunday. I know I'm trying to line. I'm not really a streamer, so this is like a process to like kind of get into it.
You are what you want to be.
It's true.
You know, you decide for yourself.
I will be streaming though, 100%. Mark it down on your calendar. Tuesday, August 11th. I'm gonna be streaming because that's Solstice of Heroes. Solstice of Heroes.
That is coming up.
So I'm gonna be streaming some Destiny.
Hell yeah. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm really hungry. I'm going to go eat some Chinese food. Y'all have a great day/night, people. Bye. See you next week. We're going to be here.
See you later.